OK K.O. Let's Be Heroes is a cartoon that I haven't really been keeping up with recently, and I know I probably should because I hear it's getting good, but I've just been doing a lot of other stuff. Anyway, there's one newer episode in particular that interested me. Based on the description and what people have told me, this episode broke the fourth wall, and I always love to see how cartoons handle that stuff. This OK K.O. episode is called Let's Watch the Pilot. The synopsis is that K.O., Rad, and Enid watch the Liquid Plaza Turbo pilot.
The original pilot, Liquid Plaza Turbo! That's right, the pilot!
And I don't mean the sap that flies your plane. I'm talking a short sample episode that's made to test the waters and see if it's something people would want to watch more of. Right, K.O.?
Well, yeah, but...
Now, I was pretty unsure of what to think about this before watching, because based on the synopsis alone, I just thought it would be them watching, nothing else really happens and it would be pretty boring. However, it was a nice surprise and things did not go as I expected. In the episode, K.O., Rad, and Enid all acknowledge that they played a role on this new show called OK K.O. Let's Be Heroes. They're basically big time actors in this universe, so it's a fictional TV show inside of a fictional TV show. Nice! Anyway, the episode begins exactly how I expected it to go. They'll just sit down and watch the pilot Liquid Plaza Turbo, and then there's some commentary from the characters as the episode goes on. It was basically a YouTube reaction video, and I was ready to call this a terrible episode, but luckily that stopped after a short amount of time and it started to turn into something more. We begin to see fights between our main characters. There's lots of jokes about the animation industry. I don't want to spoil everything that happens just in case you haven't seen this, but the entire episode is not just them watching with commentary, even though that is a small portion of it.
What are you guys talking about? Neither of you should feel embarrassed.
Oh, can it, K.O.? You're a perfect child prodigy.
You couldn't look bad if you tried. That's not true. Do you know how hard I work to keep up with you two? I stay up all night practicing my lines. I take tons of classes. My acting coach is here right now.
You're doing great.
One thing I find interesting is that Let's Watch the Pilot is not like any other OK K.O. episode that came before it. The average episode has heroes versus villains. Most of the time there's lots of action, but this episode was different because there were no real villains. Even the villains who appear in the show, like Boxman, are actually in the audience watching the pilot along with K.O., Rad, and Enid. We see a completely different side to these villains, and that is probably not what most people expected when tuning into this episode. Everything here is just breaking the fourth wall, acknowledging that OK K.O. Let's Be Heroes is a TV show. However, one weird thing I want to point out is that if this episode is canon, which it very likely is, then that means the entirety of OK K.O. is nothing more than a fictional TV show made for people in the OK K.O. universe to enjoy. So if you go back and watch an episode about K.O. trying to help everyone around the plaza, K.O. is just acting, he's exactly like a Hollywood star, and this just puts a completely new perspective on everything we've already seen from the show. I really did like how unique Let's Watch the Pilot was. I went in expecting it to be a relatively simple plot where they just watch the pilot with commentary, but I'm glad it went in a completely different direction. Also, the idea of the characters commenting on the pilot was pretty cool. This episode reminded me of that one Family Guy episode where Stewie and Brian go to the pilot and then they commentate that, but they're actually in the world of the pilot. Side note, I thought that was one of the best episodes of Family Guy, but even though this episode of OK K.O. was nowhere near as good as the Family Guy version, it was still good for what it's worth, and I do recommend watching it. Don't go in expecting it to be like an episode you've seen before because it's completely different, yet I still think you'll find some enjoyment in it, especially with all the fourth wall breaks.
Stupid loin flap.
Hey, everybody got a fresh box of pepper here.
But anyway, that's all for this video. Subscribe for more awesome cartoon videos. Give a thumbs up and comment below to let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.